Alright, so it seems we're finally getting there. Wait, the second game, so let's get ready for another action. We should be having another good game on our hands, as both clans are of course quite high quality. And who's going to be then having a better spot for the playoffs then? Well, both of them at this point are, well, the ATs of Death at this point are pretty much assured a playoff spot. ONU's not that clear. There potentially could be some mess up for them. It's gonna be a fight between them and GDMs, I'm thinking. For the third spot. Skeens, well, they could still mess up. They have 2 matches, I think, to finish the season. But it's not really all that expected. So let's say that Keens and Dots are looking quite good for actually the first 2 spots. And ONU and GDMs are gonna be more or less fighting for the spot number 3 in there. Anyway, we're gonna be starting, of course, with the Marsh. The gods in the end are gonna be more or less what we saw. Just a bit of a switch, interesting. PSK is actually switching from Zeus into Poseidon. Kind of unusual choice. Would be really thinking that Zeus would be a bit better for him, especially in team game. But anyway, it's a viable choice. And otherwise, it seems to be the same: Thor, Poseidon, Isis, Odin, and whatnot. Yep, so it seems everybody is playing the same gods in there pretty much. So great hunt by Shelty already being used, so that he can have at least a few more hippos. It's nicely cast together with plenty of piggies. Yeah, he's definitely quite interested in having plenty of Daredevils in the early game. That's nice to see, and of course something that shouldn't be underestimated, and it's a very good effect of actually Great Hunt, as this can basically give you a very good early game, even without the need of somehow risking your village's lives somewhere in the middle of the map for some unsafe hunt. So yeah, don't underestimate this power, and it could be really good help in some build orders and overall tactics. Well, otherwise, of course, Shelty is gonna be apparently on the flank. He's gonna be against Sparks. That's gonna be interesting matchup between, of course, the 2 Norse players, Odin and Thor. Definitely curious how that's gonna come. And in the middle, in the pockets, that's gonna be Poseidon versus, of course, Isis. I think that's pretty good for the Fox player, for the Dot player, Fox. As on the right side, Brighead, yeah, I think this is a very good spawn for overall the ATs of that, but it's not bad for ONU either, because having the Oranos on the flank and having, of course, the only, well, not really passive and defensive god, but most defensive of them all, let's say, Poseidon, is actually pretty good, and some kind of faster mythic might be really useful for him. As going for the Artemis fast enough is of course gonna be quite deadly, as the Earthquake is supremely powerful god power, and it's one that is often overlooked because of course Hephaestus and the Colossi and whatnot are usually the main thing, especially since Poseidon is not really all that much played, as usually Zeus is played. Though Earthquake is one of the most powerful god powers in the game, and if you use it properly, you can kinda turn the game just on the spot, because usually, basically, to be honest, the best use in my mind is to find a place in the enemy home base where he's having as many houses as possible on one spot. Because if you can basically delete, like, I don't know, 7 houses at one spot at one time, that's completely screwing up your opponent, because he's losing 70 population limit in one moment, and he somehow has to rebuild them as fast as possible. And it's a double problem for Norse, because Norse of course have to use units, military units, to rebuild them. So using Earthquake on houses of a Norse, I think, is really, really powerful, and something you don't really see all that often, and it's kind of underestimated, I think, because it could be a really significant winning condition, as housing is overall underestimated. Well, not really winning condition, but helping condition to win the game for you, and should be really paid a whole lot more attention to it, because the houses are not really that strong, just 450, and they are not really all that hard to take down. But yeah, nobody is really taking advantage of that all that much. You see it kind of rarely. But, well, we are going to be seeing advances at this point. It's going to be, of course, Poseidon with the Hermes guy. Otherwise, who is... Oh, well, that's... Well, he's really fast into the next ages. Otherwise, nobody else is advancing yet. Just Prometheus, of course, coming up. There's gonna be Hermes, of course, for Brighead. So far, Fox not advancing, just going for the temple, so it seems like some fairly standard build order. And it's probably gonna be some kind of boom from him, I'm expecting. Because from what I remember, he is kinda partial to doing it. And especially since he's in the pocket and having quite capable teammates, I'm expecting it's gonna be working for him quite alright. Well, what else are we going to be looking at? For example, TC positions. Interesting, for example, for a Brighead, he's already coming there with the villagers so that he can gather from all those wild piggies. And it's actually quite close by to the enemy front TC. You can see this is just in the space of one screen. That's gonna be pretty important for either of the players to actually control this, as who controls the one DC has a pretty good chance of denying the TC to the opponents as well, so this is gonna be pretty important. And Guisao, well, maybe he should be recognizing that as well. He's a Orano, so he knows where all the TCs are, and should be really careful about what's gonna happen right next to his position. I wouldn't be all that surprised if actually Brighead went for it right from the start, especially considering he went with the villages. Yes, exactly. That was the reason, that's how you play it. Because otherwise he could have gone for a lot safer hunt at the back. He's having so much of it. Still so much of hunt he's having at the back. So this is very nice play and kinda a bit old schooly. Because usually basically in today's day, it's kinda weird saying, you see players playing quite carefully and not really risking all that much. And this is really one of the more riskier games. Riskier plays, and it seems to be really working quite fine. This is probably gonna be killed by the centaur quite fine. Yeah, he's having quite a good bonus against that. He might be losing one villager or whatnot, but otherwise it should be quite fine, especially if he's gonna be properly micro in. Brighead, where are you watching? Oh, where? Oh man, nicely played. Shockwave definitely makes sense, but was this needed at this point? I'm not that convinced. If he wanted to cast the ceasefire, he should have done it sooner. At this point, I think it might not have been needed. Because, of course, Theseus with the Centaur, that should have been able to actually deal with this army quite fine. I don't really expect that could have been any kind of problem. Can I be standing there? Yes. Oh, man. And, oh, he messed up. That was such a nice idea, of course, by Guisao to block the wall building. But, unfortunately, he just couldn't stand still. And that meant that the advantage is not gonna be there. At any rate, we are also gonna be heading into the left side. Where of course it's gonna be apparently advanced by Sparks on Shelty. So Shelty is gonna be having quite a lot of fun with his opponent. And Broad Brighead coming for a relic on better archers. That's good. That's very good actually for him. Better village hit points for Brighead as well. Very important relics coming up in here. And there are some extra relics as well, as the Sphinx apparently from Fox is gonna be dying for the motherland for absolutely nothing. That's a bit of a shame, but this is a very good relic for better Rams, Helepoli and whatnot crash attack. So that could be pretty important for him, as we are looking at Forest Fire opening the base of Shelty and basically allowing Sparks to go into the enemy base if he actually can. Because it's not entirely certain, as we are looking at Shelty having quite a good army and basically getting rid of all the horses and all the rest, all the Hersirs and whatever kind of army. Even you can see Kataskopos was helping in there from Piske, and it seems like that Shelty will be, at least for the moment, winning this short 1v1. Second TC has been, of course, captured by Fox, casting the Prosperity, so he's going to be advancing through Nephthys right about now. And it seems that so far this is working very well for the ATs of Death, because, of course, they are quite strong on the flanks, and that means that the ISIS can really boom as much as she can. Alright, so this is basically stabilized on the left for Shelty. On the right, we have seen already a bit before that it's very nicely stabilized for Brighead, as of course second TC has been captured also by Piske, so both pockets kinda booming, and I'm kinda curious also where Fox is actually gonna be moving from here. He has finished with the Piggy, he's gonna be already moving onto another one, but I was maybe thinking he might be already moving with the villages. Pharaoh coming in. He's gonna be coming for a Migdol, probably next to the TC. Or is he coming to the bottom? I'm thinking he should be probably coming next to the TC, because this is a very good spot for him. This is a very good spot indeed, as there is already an attack going on, also by Yusao, helped by Piske. And if actually Sparks joins this as well, well, right now he cannot, because he's fighting against Shelty's army inside his own base. But otherwise, he also needs a second army inside his base, and he probably could be using a few towers here and there. Is he actually coming for them? No exclamation mark. Oh, not yet. He definitely will be needing them. That, or actually go for mediums. Because otherwise you cannot really fight at both sides, and you are also fighting against your opponents, so you definitely will be needing some kind of assistance very soon. As so far it seems like that Brighead and Guisao are not really moving anywhere all that much. That's gonna change pretty soon, with Fox actually coming to the middle and helping a bit more on the Brighead side, it seems like. And Shelty, well, it's kinda dangerous. Kinda dangerous for the ATs of Death, and I think that Fox should be switching there as soon as possible, as this is not really looking great. And considering the ceasefire is already gone for the ATs of Death, This is gonna be tough. This is gonna be tough for Shelty. And he just somehow needs to survive. Watchtower up, exactly what was needed. And he should be probably investing into a few more towers if he has the resources. Yes, he does. He should be probably building a few more towers in here because he's gonna be under a triple for a bit longer. Yeah, he is basically under full on triple right about now. And he's even housed, as he's losing houses right here at the bottom, as he has lost a tower in there as well. And this is not looking great for him at all. Like literally at all, as he has lost all the army in the Teal's base. And oh well, they need to hurry up. The ATs of Death on the right side need to hurry up, as apparently Shelty is gonna be just basically meat for the vultures to pick on and fill their bellies, as apparently Fox and Brighead are just gonna be throwing him under the bus and hoping that they can kill Brighead, or rather they can kill Guisao before Shelty dies against the double, because it's not gonna be a triple anymore. Guisao needs to defend himself, and apparently they are even forcing at least a bit of help from Sparks, which is of course a bit of a release from Shelty, and he could be somehow getting back on his feet at least a bit, as he has finally the medium upgrade. That's gonna be helping significantly even against medium Hippicons, but much more importantly, those guys are coming for the TC or not. They seem to be waiting for it. They seem to be waiting for it. Oh, and he's going to be waiting for Heroic actually. I can see the resources, that's actually quite close for him. So Heroic, and then after that it's probably gonna be TC for him. As front one is being taken by Piske. We have already seen a bit before that Fox is at 3, and they seem to be really working their way into the enemy base right now, Brigade and Fox. And since Guisao is having just one TC, there's already a bit of scouting also at the back to make sure that he's not actually coming for a second one. Ancestors and Eclipse, oh right. Alright, that's gonna be a hard one. That's gonna be a very hard one for Organization of Natural Uppers, because even though they have sent some kind of help in there, there's also a bit of raiding still going on. This actually wasn't help. This wasn't help for Guisao. This is attempted raiding on Brigade, which so far, rather, right now he has noticed, but a bit too late. But still, I don't think it's all that major, as with those Ancestors in here, and all those Elephants and potentially siege towers that are kinda not coming. Oh well, that's not great. But who is coming is actually Shelty. Oh well. So it's gonna be switching into a triple on the other side of the map. Well, that's kind of funny. It's kind of funny indeed. But looking at all the army, especially all the Hippicons, they are right now crucial for the battle, as they are allowing Brigade to basically kill absolutely everything. With the Ancestors still very much alive, they should be killing the TC no problem. And that of course is gonna be also meaning no Heroic Age for Guisao, as you cannot really even take the back TC all that safely. It's not gonna be really allowed to do that all that much. Scurry up for Sparks, which is probably gonna be cast now, I'm thinking. This is a good spot for Frost, yes. This is a very good spot for it to basically save the teammate. So yeah, that's that. But at the same time, it's of course gonna be gone, which means quite good opportunities, of course, for some kind of steals and whatnot. And well, that's another significant good power gone, but they still have at least one ceasefire in here. So well, still some kind of tactical advantage to be had for Piske, who is at 4 TCs. Well, he's even taken, of course, the TC from Guisao. From Guisao himself. And while at this point, it might not really matter all that much, I'm not all that certain that actually Piske can work successfully at 4 TCs this early in the game, 12 minutes. Actually, I'm fully certain he cannot. So it might be just a bit too greedy. And if he's having actually auto-queue on all of those for villages, it might be costing him on the economy quite significantly. In the meantime, Fox has been able to finish even a Migdol in the enemy base, with the Frost just now going off, as the TC is almost fully repaired. But did he get some upgrades? No, he didn't. He didn't get even Masons on that, that's a bit of a shame. As well, otherwise, TC on the left finished for Shelty. That's a good victory, a little victory for him, as of course it will allow him to basically control Sparks, who is... Oh, is it gonna be a steal of the back TC? Yes, it is. It's gonna be a steal of the back TC as well, as of course right about now, Guisao is not aware of this at all. You can see he's having basically open economy all around in this base. This guy right now coming for ceasefire, which is gonna help securing the TC. Oh well, you could have seen the villages were actually coming there, trying to disrupt it, but yeah, well, a bit too late. A bit too late, as TC at the back is right now being captured, but fortunately even the Crocodile has something to say about that. Yeah, well, not anymore, as he's on his back, but those guys are just gonna be waiting in here. What could he be doing is, for example, I don't know, making some military buildings right next to the TC. To make it a bit more annoying, exactly. Armory, well, why not? Even some armory. And if he plays it correctly, he could be actually luring TC fire into the building. That's something that you don't see all that often done, basically luring fire from the TC into something that you actually that the opponent doesn't want to shoot at. And it's quite powerful because usually the opponents actually don't notice and don't pay attention where the TC is firing. They just kinda implicitly assume that it's actually targeting units. But no, it's just gonna be targeting the first enemy unit or building. And if it's staying on the building, yeah, it's just gonna be kind of free battle for your units without the TC fire on them. So, full on attack right about now with pretty good amount of siege towers is getting rid of the TC finally. Now Guisao is gonna be finishing with the back. Oh no, he actually didn't. He wasn't able to finish with it, so unfortunately he's gonna be having to rebuild somewhere else. As of course, Shelty is also fully attacking Sparks' base, so he's right now basically at two places at once. He's not only fighting on the right side, denying Guisao a TC, who is right now at 0, he's also trying to somehow at least keep Sparks busy with the one TC, and that's supremely important because of course, if he can keep him busy in there, also with some kind of basically lame army that is not doing anything by Piske, well, it's of course gonna be given so much more opportunity for Fox and Brighead to finally close the deal from the right side, and they so far are looking quite confident on that, killing all the housing for Guisao. And in Guisao, well, it doesn't seem like he's even retreating anywhere. He's just having the villages all here, hoping that he can actually finish with the TC, which he might at this point. It seems that there is not enough attention being paid, but at the same time it doesn't matter at all, as apparently Shelty is gonna be coming for a 4th after they have their flying day. And otherwise in the middle there is already a switch from Guisao into of course the 4th TC of Piske, and they shouldn't be having all that much of a problem to get rid of it. And in the meantime, killing a few citizens of course from the green player as well. Alright, so it seems well in hand this time for Fox and Brickhead on the right side, as otherwise we don't really see anything all that out of the ordinary, just a bit of a scout in here, but nothing major. And of course the TCs all across the map being captured by Shelty, but well, probably not for much longer, as this is looking quite promising for Piske and Sparks to actually get rid of. Yeah, there's not much of an army by the blue player, even though he's sending all he can into the forefront right now, having heavy Ulfsaks and whatnot. Yeah, apparently the whatnot is not really that strong. Frost is going to be cast, which is all the army from Sparks, and most of it from Piske. And that's gonna be a huge problem, because of course they need all the army in the middle, where Piske has lost the front DC to the might of Fox and Brighead. And he's not going to be getting it anytime back, because of course there is still just one god power left for Brighead, and it's gonna be bronze. So let's see if he uses it or not, because I don't really think that in this stage he needs it. Fox is gonna be at 5 DCs at 60 minutes, that's kinda alright for basically the undisputed or other undisturbed boom that he was having so far, and he should be quite ready to take on all the extra population limit. Yeah, you can see they're even punishing the puny boars for that. Anyway, at the bottom TC has been killed. Or maybe not even finished, probably not even finished it seems like, as of course the GGs are going to be called, as this game has gone through ONU's fingers and is right now fully in the teeth of death power. Yep, this DC maybe is gonna be taken down, at least as the last thing it seems like for Piske before he resigns, as well this is gonna be the small victory they're gonna be taken from this game. Well, nicely done. Shelty is gonna be down to 3 TCs. Unfortunately, that's not really going to be, or rather 4 TCs, because he has captured the one in the base of Guisao. But yeah, the Hydra, well, let's just look what she's going to be doing. But apparently, fighting against Theseus is not the best of ideas. Yep, here's the GG, and the Teeth of Death are going to be winning the match 2-0. And they are in pretty good spot to actually go for the first spot in the division, as this was their last match. They are going to be ending with 2 losses, and the only one who could be challenging their first spot right about now are gonna be Keens, who are in the same position, also 2 losses, and they have tied 1-1 in their group stage. But still, Keens are having 2 matches left, so there could be some kind of opportunity for them still to somehow mess up. But hopefully not, and we're gonna be seeing plenty of interesting games from them, and even the decider. Alright, that was nicely played. Nicely played by Dots, and yeah, that's what happens when you are having Fox in the middle. That's what happens when you're having Fox in the middle. And you kinda say that Shelty is not important and we're just gonna let him die. And let him be tripled. Yeah, he's definitely had to enjoy that. But it worked for the Teeth of Death in the end. They were able to win the right side fast enough. And well, unfortunately, Guisao wasn't able to withstand all the pressure that was coming for him. Let's check the post game. So That's gonna be Fox. Yeah, well, I kinda have to agree, because as I said a bit before, just a second before, when you have Fox in the pocket, it's just always gonna be a huge problem and a huge pain to be having such a strong ISIS with undisturbed boom. But overall, quite good performance by all dots. They just knew what they were doing. Good team communication, and that's exactly what prevails in the clan wars at RTS League. But not to say that ONUs were playing bad, they really weren't. They are quite capable team, very good one. Dots were just better. Dots were just better. But also has to be said, yet again, for ONUs, in the first game they were very close to actually tilting it towards them, and this match could have easily ended as 1-1. Yes, Park 6 economy unfortunately never really picked up, as opposed to, for example, even Shelty, who was tripled in there. And yeah, the efficiency just wasn't there, because they were kind of they were forced into a whole lot of unfortunate fights. The only good fights they were taken were like the 3 versus 1 against Shelty, but otherwise they were kind of mostly doubled or fighting against more opponents, so yeah. And they basically had to rely on God powers to bail them out. And the aggressive grab of the front TC for Brigade definitely paid off. That's a strategy really that is not all that present. Usually players are going for the safe TCs this time. But well, if you're not afraid and you know what you're doing, it can definitely work for you. And if you are expecting an aggressive game overall and you are confident that you are gonna be the one setting the pace, why not go for it? Good boom by both Piske and Fox. You can see even slightly better boom by Piske, but he just couldn't translate it into some kind of military presence as fast as Fox could. That was also part of the problem. That was also why I was thinking that the 4 TCs are just weren't just such a great idea. Usually that early you cannot really sustain that population limit, so it doesn't serve any kind of purpose, and it's gonna be straining your food economy quite a lot, because the 50 food every 15 seconds for extra villager, it just counts. It's just there at the crucial stage, and it's just going to be kind of crippling your economy, and it's not like TC is cheap either. So all in all, taking extra TCs above 3, and even the third and such, needs to be done at the correct timings. Anyway, GG.